Hi, I'm Jackie Wicks with PEERtrainer, and I'm here with JJ Virgin, celebrity nutrition and fitness expert. And we are in video number 3 of our training series on the cleanse. And I want JJ to talk about what she sees really ensures success. When people do this over and over, what can happen in terms of their success on the cleanse?
Well, you know, this is why I fell in love with PEERtrainer, because the number one thing I've seen that really helps people be successful, are you ready? Being accountable and getting that community of support. It's so huge. You know, the studies actually show, and there was a recent study that showed that when people wrote what they were eating every single day, the determinant of whether someone was going to be successful on a diet or not was how much they reported. In fact, the people who journaled every day versus the people who didn't lost twice as much weight. So when you have this whole environment of accountability and support, you know, where you are journaling and you're doing that, it is the big shift that will be the determinant of whether you're successful or not. So you got to get into that community, you got to get that support.
And that's why we created PEERtrainer. We realized that people really had this missing ingredient, that they didn't have the support. For example, they had told their family or their friends, yes,
now
I'm
they
really
had anti-support.
I'm really going to do it this time. And the first couple times it was fine, but after a while they started to feel a little judged. And the most important thing when you're talking about this next step is that you're surrounding yourself
with circle of support.
Yes, that are positive. And what's really interesting about PEERtrainer is you're not just supporting each other in different kinds of goals. You all have this goal of becoming more healthy. And so you have all these ways to get new ideas of things that can get more doable, things that you can do day to day to make these small wins stack on each other and really create success.
It is so huge, because I remember we actually did this on Dr. Phil. We did a whole show on people who sabotage you. And,
yes, absolutely.
You know, and you wouldn't think
and
about
they
it.
don't even mean to.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not, they're not trying to be mean
at all, yes.
Right.
And it's really important, though, that you even realize that, be aware that that could be happening, and go out of your way to create this thing of support. And that's what we
Well, it's right here. You don't even have to go out of your way.
Here it is. That's what we did in
Grab a hold of it.
And I think the biggest thing is we want to talk about the questions.
Yes,
in the last
we
video,
promised.
we had so many questions.
We'll stay on
Let's
track.
just dive right in. What is the real reason that people lose weight on the cleanse? Isn't it just a calories in, calories out kind of thing? This is one of our most popular questions.
Okay, so I get to say my mantra. Your body is not a bank account. It's a chemistry lab. This is not a deal with calories in, calories out. I'm going to show you the best example of this, and then I'll explain why. So I had one person who she was living on soy, 100 pounds overweight, living on soy. We pulled all the 7 foods out that we talked about in the last video, but specifically soy, because she was eating so much soy. And we put in, she was basically a vegan doing soy, so we put in clean lean animal protein and nuts. Okay, so we didn't actually lower calories. In fact, we probably raised her calories a little bit. To date, she has lost 85 pounds.
85?
85 pounds. And I hear this all the time. Gosh, you mean I can eat this way and like lose weight?
Right.
You know? So when you think about this and you go, you move off of the idea of this bank account model, which we know is wrong, because the minute you start cutting calories, you slow down metabolism, right? So when you shift off of that to the idea that food is information, and you want to make sure that the way you're eating, what you're eating, when you're eating, how much you're eating, it all matters. You know, it's not, again, we say calories do count, but where they come from counts more. That is now telling your body to burn off fat and reduce inflammation. And the reason this works so well and so fast,
yes,
right? Because we know people who lose weight fast actually lose more weight and keep it off. But the reason is because it's lowering that inflammatory cascade, and it's stopping that whole insulin and cortisol issue that you're getting with the high inflammation. So it is not a calorie restriction that is doing it. It is the fact that we're changing the information to your body and lowering inflammation quickly.
And I want to know, well, the second question everyone wants to know is, great, I heard fast, but can I keep the weight off?
Well, one of the things that happens when you go through this is, and we hear it so many times, you know, so you pull the foods out and you're thinking, okay, I can do this for 2 weeks. It's just 2 weeks, I can do this.
Days.
And, you know, kind of in your mind when you're first starting, you're going, I can do this for 2 weeks. And like on day 15, I'm having cheese and crackers, you know, I'm having the latte.
Right.
But what happens at day 15 is you go, I don't really want that. And so what we teach you to do after that point is really see which foods work for your biochemistry, because we all are our own chemistry lab, right? And so maybe you'll find out that you do fine with eggs. Or a little Greek-style yogurt works for you. I know with both of us, we have a little Greek-style yogurt and we get a big zit. Big zit.
Massive pimples,
So,
yes.
yeah, it's just not, I look at that yogurt and it's like, it's so
eggs
not worth
for me
it.
too,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, I know they hurt my stomach. So if I eat gluten, my fingers swell. I know I can do a little egg here and there.
And we've had a lot of people in PEERtrainer be able to point to their joints and their inflammation, their arthritis, and different things exactly in the same way you just explained that.
But people don't realize this because these become very low-grade symptoms, and they go, oh, well, you know, that's just normal for me. Like, you know, that afternoon dump where I just am so fatigued.
Right.
That's just normal for me. The gas and bloating, oh, you know, that's totally normal for me. The cravings, that's normal for me. It's not normal. That is not normal, okay? And when you go through the 2 weeks and all of a sudden they go away and you notice what it feels like to feel really good, you're going, you know, I don't need the muffin. I don't know. Now, you will check to see what works for you. But boy, what happens when you've gotten yourself normal and you feel really good and then you eat one of these things and you really see the symptom for what it is, and you go, whoa.
It really ends up being like compound interest. The good habits start building and the good choices in your system keep building on each other. And then suddenly, I had one person on PEERtrainer say, I had the tiniest milk in my coffee and I was immediately bloated. She knew it immediately. She could point to exactly what happened.
So you keep the weight off because after this you find out what really works for you and what doesn't. And there's such a pronounced response that you don't want to do it. And you get a negative association with it. So it really is customizing, personalizing your diet for you, which is really what it should be anyway, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
And you know, our next question, of course, leads right to that so many people say, but I have a full-time job, I have 2 kids, I have 3 kids, I have 2 jobs, whatever it is. And they say, I don't, or I have to work 80 hours a week. I don't really know that I can do this. You know, can I do this?
Yes. And if you don't think you can do it, then it won't work. So the first thing I'm going to say is, you know, so I have 2 companies, I have 2 kids, I'm a single mom, and I find it actually that the busier you are, the more important it is to have a real clear structure of how to eat. And you also don't have time to be sick and not have great energy. So the busier you are, the more you feel like this is not the right time. If it's not the right time, you're in the right place, okay? It becomes even more critical. Really, can you do this? We're going to lay out an exact roadmap of what you need to do, and we really have in the last one of what to eat, when to eat, how to eat it. But what I'd also say, even backing up from can I do this, it comes down to do you want it, and how badly do you want it? How much are you sick and tired of kind of getting up and going, I mean, I don't know about you, but that feeling of your pants being tight, just shoot me. And waking up and getting a zit, I mean.
And you get disappointed in yourself for this reason. You keep thinking that you're doing the right thing, and then it's not working. And it really starts to affect your psyche of,
oh, it totally does.
Can I do this? And so I understand why people say, well, isn't this just another thing? How am I going to do this when I seem to have tried so many things
So here's
before?
what I'm going to tell someone to do on the can I do this. You've got to want it. You've got to want it. You've got to, you've really got to believe it inside before you're going to see it. You know, they say you got to see it before you believe it. I believe you got to believe it before you see it. So you've got to decide that this is your time, that you are that worth it, that you want this, and that you can have it. You really can. I believe that you can be better. I know I'm better than I was in high school for sure. My hair's a lot better.
Same here.
I dress better. But
I never would have believed that at this age I could have, and even some of my friends from college have said something. They say, wow, I have to say, Jackie, you know, you're really thin, you're really fit. And I said, well, what do you expect? I'm with PEERtrainer. And they said, but I know a lot of people that do a lot of these things that they're just talking to me on the phone and I haven't seen them in person.
Yeah.
I did not, I believed that making some changes would have an effect, but I didn't have any idea what I would start to learn about. I love absolutes. I love math. I love like 1 + 2 = 3. I love, see an egg.
Oh, yes, it is.
I see an egg, I'm gonna get a pimple. I love having that feedback. I love finally when she was just saying the chemistry lab, I love that I do chemistry experiments all the time. And I'm like, oh, I customize this. This is for me. This is how I optimally work. And it's so fantastic to be able to have learned that in a structured way.
That makes it easy. So like, can I do this?
Exactly.
It's easy to do, but again, I'm going to back up to, it's all going to start with, do you want it enough for yourself? And so you kind of go back and say, if I knew I wasn't going to fail, if I knew this was absolutely
Yes.
going to work,
If it
what
didn't
would I
matter if I had
want?
more
What would I
money,
want? Like, what would
more
I want my
time.
weight to be? What would I want
Yes.
my energy to be like? What would I want my skin to be like? And what ultimately, because I had all those things, and I'll share this with you, what ultimately would that give me? Because what I've seen with all of these people, because we get all these different comments, like I've dropped 40, I've had people drop
Yes,
100 pounds. I've dropped 40
absolutely.
pounds, my skin cleared
I've
up.
dropped my last 10. I don't have
I
joint.
look 10
I don't-
years younger.
Yes, I don't have joint problems anymore. Just 2 days ago, someone wrote in, I saw a man that I see every 2 months at the grocery store, and I said, hi, let's just insert Steve. And Steve looked at me and said, who are you? He said, are you kidding? It's me. And he said, what have you been doing? What happened?
Were you at a spa for 2 months?
Yeah, I mean, so
But
it's a
ultimately,
big deal.
everyone ends up in the same place, and that's confidence. Like, I looked at, well, what is the one thing I
Belief.
can say that
Yeah.
everybody comes out of it with is confidence. And when you have more confidence, you then are going to go for it in life.
You're going to smile more. You're going to have a lot more opportunities. You
Yeah.
don't even understand sort of what opens up when you start to have this control. All of us can't stand feeling out of control, doing these things, and then not knowing that we're going to get a result. When you follow this in this structured way, you get these results that most of these people really thought they couldn't do.
So it's important because, another question we do get is, well, what happens after? And I think you're getting the drift of, it's sort of like, do this for 2 weeks because it's really a new lease on life. It starts you in this brand new path, and then you'll find what really works for you. And you'll learn how to eat in a way. You've already heard us say things that are absolutely 180-degree change from what you were doing, which is good because you've been doing the same thing expecting different results. So we're telling you to do 180-degree change, see how it works, and that you'll feel so much different. You'll actually enjoy eating these things that you go, okay, the after never really happens.
Yes.
This after is just like, this is just how I live now because I feel so good. So what happens after is that you just continue to sharpen the saw. You just continue to up-level your health because health is a journey. It's not like, you just do this thing and boom, you're here. We have to continue to improve.
Yes.
And it just, I feel like when you go through this process, you realize what's possible.
Right.
And then you just continue to go for more.
And, it brings me to questions that I always get even personally, not just on PEERtrainer. I just know if I just eat in moderation, isn't just eating in moderation the key? Because this is counter to everything I hear. Just eat in moderation, work out a little bit, and you will do.
And that's working
what
so
you
well.
need. Yes.
Look around.
Yeah, I know.
geez.
And that's where the frustration comes
Well,
in.
so here's my little line about moderation. Moderation makes you fat over time. It just makes you gain weight more slowly. In fact, what they showed was that moderate, just have a little of this. And first of all, when someone says, just have a little piece of cake. Well, what's a little piece of cake? Like, what's a little
Right.
bit, And the thing is that
and
a
you
little
think
bit
that
gets a
you're
little
gonna
bit more,
stop.
gets a little bit
I
more,
know.
right? So what is moderation? But I do believe that moderation makes you fat over time. First of all, not just from the calorie standpoint. They looked at it from the calorie standpoint and found that moderation basically made you gain a pound a year. So over 10 years, that would be 10 pounds. But it's not that. It's the addictive response to the food and it's the inflammatory response from the food that's creating a way bigger issue. And I think that moderation is setting us up. I think it's the big player in this whole obesity crisis. It's okay to have a little muffin, a little latte, a little this, a little 100-calorie snack pack or 2 or 3.
Right.
No, it's not. Moderation makes you fat over time.
And when it's in your house and you're stressed out, it's almost impossible to turn down.
Get the enemy out of the house.
If you have a great day and you're feeling confident and great, no problem, I'll pass that up. But how about the days where you just
hell with it.
Exactly.
But if it's not there, it doesn't matter. So it is true because when you feel good about yourself, you're like, I don't want the cake.
Right.
But when things
you're
just
things are not
or you're
always-
a little like you're getting your period, you feel
Exactly.
bloated, you're like, bring it on.
Exactly.
So if it's not there, you can't bring it on. So we keep the enemy out of the house.
Well, absolutely. And
Big
one of the final things, because even I felt this way, that I've heard people say is, I'm a little scared. I'm not a lot scared. I've done a lot of things.
This was you
Yeah,
saying
I'm a little
this.
scared. No, and there are other people that
Because you didn't want to
always
give up
say-
your eggs.
I didn't want to
you
give.
baby.
I have to say, I had an egg and omelet
She had an egg
breakfast.
fetish.
Egg with eggs and vegetable omelet every single morning.
Yeah.
So for me,
Hello,
the other
red
things-
flag right there.
The other things were really easy because I have vegetable soups and all those things. But the eggs, so I find that people sort of latch onto one thing when you
Yes,
hear that.
and they're like,
they go,
"I'll do
"But
it all."
what about my corn?"
Yeah.
Right.
Don't you-
But
I
what
can give
about
up
my
the
tofu?
6, but
I
I'm
can do
not
that,
giving
but
up the
what? But
1.
I have to have my edamame. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, that is what we hear when people say, "Well, okay, but if I don't give up all of them, is it going to work?" Because I'm a little
No,
scared
you have to
do
give them.
this.
You have to give them all up, all 7. And what I tell you is, if you've enjoyed us, like us insane-o people, we will tell you to watch your inbox, because we're going to go through it in depth what the PEERtrainer Fresh Start Cleanse is. So that's critical there, is that we will teach you exactly how to do this. But one thing I'll say is, first of all, remember, it's just 2 weeks. And that food that you just don't want to give up, that's the most important food, because it's very clear that when you are addicted to something, it tends to be that food that you're reacting to. Now, we have gone through in the last video, and we told you, okay, so, trade the peanut butter for almond butter. If you're hooked on corn tortillas, do rice tortillas. So there's little simple lateral shifts. And in fact, that's part of the cleanse program. And what I'm going to tell you now is, if you've loved these training videos, if you like the banter, if you've loved these training videos, watch your inbox, because we are going to go through the Fresh Start Cleanse, exactly what it is and how it will work for you.